Okay, so you're welcome again to this 4 days short course on our programming. I'm hoping that in the next 4 days we should be able to cover. Let's see that no. Where are you? Okay. So I believe that in the next 4 days we should be able to cover this few topics. I think Morenike Joy is having issues connecting. Okay, so we'll look at introduction to R and Rstudio. We'll look at Rstudio quadrants. We'll look at Rstudio basics. We'll look at data types in R. We'll look at packages and functions in R. We'll see how to import data sets in Rstudio. We'll look at how to explore data in Rstudio, and then we'll look at data cleaning and manipulation. So basically, I'm hoping we can be able to do this in the next 4 days. Okay, fine. So R and Rstudio. Now, R is a programming language that was used for statistical analysis. So there are other programs that we use for statistical analysis, including things like EpiInfo, Stata, SPSS, and the likes. So these are all programming languages. What distinguishes R from these ones is that R is purely a programming language. The others are either a point and click system or a mixture of some coding and point and click system, but R is completely programming. So everything, every code, every output you will have in R is a function of a code that you have typed inside R. So R is a very fantastic tool. I mean, if you get to learn how to use R very well, it will really you really enjoy it. For me, I was used to SPSS before I learned R, but now there's nothing I do else than use R for my analysis. So my hope at the end of the day is that I will make all of you R disciples, so that you can start using R for your data analysis. Okay, so R is a statistical programming language used for data analysis. And then we have Rstudio. So Rstudio is just a user-friendly environment for working in R. That's just what Rstudio is. Rstudio does not do the work for you. It's just a user-friendly environment for working in R. Now, when you open up R, only R itself, sorry, why is this not clicking? So when you open up only R itself, it will look something like this. When you open up only R, then Rstudio looks something like this. Rstudio has 4 quadrants like this. It has number 1 up here, the upper left, number 2, the lower left, number 3, the lower right, and number 4, the upper right, right? This numbering is significant. So follow my cursor. 1, 2, 3, and 4. The numbering is significant. The significance of this numbering is you can zoom in and out of each quadrant using those numbers. Now, if I want to zoom into quadrant 2, for example, I click Ctrl-Shift and 2. It zooms into 2. If I want to get back to the 4 quadrants, I click again Ctrl-Shift-2. It comes back. If I want to zoom into quadrant 4, I click Ctrl-Shift-4. It goes to the 4th quadrant, which is this. If I want to come back again, Ctrl-Shift-4. So that's the importance of that numbering. You can zoom in and out of quadrants using Control Shift and that number, and then zoom out again with the same Control Shift and that number. So let's look at what Rstudio is. Like you said, Rstudio is just a user-friendly environment that helps you to work in R. And why Rstudio was created is for those of us that do not have a programming background, so that we are not intimidated by just seeing only codes. We can see other things around that make it a bit friendly for us that don't have a programming background. So that's why Rstudio is created. Okay. K. Ayodeji, yeah, can you go ahead?
Okay, thank you, Dr. Kenneth. So just want more clarification.
Yeah.
You know, you call the four call it quadrants. Is
Sorry, your voice is breaking. Is it just me or is it my
the idea
network?
for us to call it quadrant or we call it panes, those windows? Hello?
Yeah, yeah.
Can you hear me?
The
Yeah, I
conventional
said
the conventional thing is to call it panes,
so
but
what is
I
the
prefer to call it
okay, go ahead.
quadrants. Did you get that?
I didn't get that. I'm trying to.
Yeah, people call it panes, P-A-N-E-S, but I
Okay.
prefer to call it quadrant because I'm used to saying quadrants.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. So where were we? Okay. So if I describe R and Rstudio using a car, I will call R the engine of that car, and it's the engine that does the work of moving the car. And then Rstudio are like all the other paraphernalia of the car, the steering wheel, the gear, the seats, the mirrors, all those other things that enable you drive the car more comfortably is what Rstudio is. And within this Rstudio, the quadrant 2, which is this one where my cursor is actually R itself. So this quadrant 2 is R. So when you open up R, it will just look just only like the quadrant 2. So it's R. So when you have both R and Rstudio installed on your system, you don't need to open up R when you're working, because when you open up the Rstudio, it automatically connects to the R in your system, which is this quadrant 2 here. Okay. Okay. Are we good up to this point?
Yes.
Okay. Good. So the next thing I would do now is talk about the 4 quadrants of Rstudio. Now let's look at each quadrant and see what it does, what each does. Now, the first quadrant is called the source quadrant. So number 1 is called the source quadrant. Or like Kazim said, the source pane. So the source, or let's just number all of them first.
Excuse me, can I ask a question? Sorry.
Yeah, please ask your
Good
question.
evening.
Good
Please,
evening.
my own is just three quadrant, not
Okay,
not four.
yes. Thank you very much for that's a very, very important question. So when you first open up your Rstudio, it actually looks something like this. Is this how yours looks like?
Yes, sir. Yes, you're saying console terminal. Yes.
Exactly. So you come to this place. Can you see this where my cursor is?
Yes, source. I can't see source. So
No,
yes.
no, no, no.
Mm,
My cursor. Can you see where my
mm,
cursor is? This thing
yes.
that looks like a window overlapping another window. Can you see it?
Yes.
Good. So when you click that, the fourth quadrant appears.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
So console,
But sorry,
yeah, go
don't be
ahead.
angry.
Go ahead,
The
please.
fourth quadrant, then the now shows those R is free software down.
Sorry, say it again.
Okay. Okay, it's just like your own. Okay, no problem.
So the third quadrant has a couple of tabs. So you have your files, you have your packages, you have help. Sorry, you have your files, you have your plots, you have your packages, you have your help, you have viewer. I'll stop there. Number 4, quadrant 4 has your environment, has your history, has your connections, and has your tutorial. Okay, so these are the 4 quadrants in Rstudio. Now let's take them one by one. So the source quadrant is the first quadrant, and this quadrant displays 3 main things. A, it displays your R script. B, it displays your R markdown script. C, it displays your data sets. So these are the things that you can view in your first quadrant called the source quadrant. So what we are writing on now is called an R script. Just like a page where you write down your codes, it's called an R script. Now, there is another kind of script called R markdown script, which we use to make reports in R. So when you finish working in R and you want to like translate your work to a Word document or a PDF or HTML file, you use your R markdown script, okay? Then you can also view data sets in this quadrant. For example, you can see this data set here. I just clicked. So you can view data sets in this place, right? So those are the 3 things you can view in your source quadrant. Now, in your R script is where you document your codes and also run them. Document and run your codes. So you write your codes and then you can run them in your R script. Now, to run a code in R script, you use Control and Enter to run a code in R script. You can also run a code in your console. When we get to the console, we'll explain how to run the code there. But to run a code in your R script, you use Control Enter. And then codes that are written in your R script can be saved and used at a later time. So if I finish working on this R script now, I can save it. And then when I come back to my Rstudio, I'll still have it here. That's the advantage of writing codes in your script and running them in your script rather than in your console. In the console, every code we write in the console disappears when we close Rstudio, and then when we come back, we don't see it again. Yes, Kazim, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, thank you for that. Yeah. So thanks for at least for throw more light on this also. But I believe others too are also learning.
Okay,
But
thanks.
my question is also still on the arrow scripts. Yeah, still on the arrow scripts. After metawriting your code, and you said, okay, you can press Control Enter.
Yeah.
Okay, what if I don't want to press Control Enter? Can I use run also? Once I like the particular the command or the codes, can I also use run apart from Control Enter?
Yes, you can also use run. That's the clicking system for running a command.
Yes.
So you can use run or you can use Control Enter. Yeah. Thank you for that. Okay. So that's your R script. So you can document your codes, you can run them using Control Enter. You can also run them using your run. Good. Okay, so we've looked at the source quadrant. So you can view 3 things there: your R script, your R markdown script, and your data set. Okay, so let's look at our console. The console, like I said, is actually the R itself. That's the R itself. And that's where the codes you document either in your source or quadrant is executed. It's executed in the console, right? So let's assume, and then to execute code in the console, you use enter. So to run codes in the console, you just use enter. So that's how it's different from running codes in the source. Here you use control enter. When the console, you just use enter. Another thing again is the codes you have, you run in your console. When you close your Rstudio and open it again, everything will disappear. So if there's any code you want saved, it's best to document it in your R script so that you can save it and you can use it at a later time. And then all outputs are given to you in your console, all outputs, except for your graphics, your interactive tables. So except for your graphics and your interactive tables, all other outputs are given to us in our console. So I'm just going to give you an example. So if I say 5 plus 3, and I do control enter, now the code I write is brought down to the console, and then it gives me the answer in the next line. And you can see 5 plus 3, the answer is 8. If I write 10 times 5, control enter, it brings down the code, which is 10 times 5, and then it gives me the answer as 50. So every output is given to you in your console, apart from your graphics and your interactive tables. So this terminal that is here is where R runs the R Markdown script. So, but we're not doing R Markdown scripts here. We're just using R. Okay. Then background jobs is not really very important for this class. Are we good up to this point?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
please. Yeah.
Okay. So let's go to quadrant 3. Quadrant 3 has a couple of tabs. You have files, plots, packages, help, and viewer. So let's take each of them one by one. So the files, I'll click on it here. So the files is where R stores all the documents that are related to a particular project you're doing. R stores all the documents that are related to the particular project you're doing. So it stores the saved R scripts there. It stores your project. It stores your data sets. So anything that is related to that project. Now, I will show us how to create specific projects for specific work that you're doing. This one, it's a bit rough. I'll show us how to do that in a later class. But just know that the files is where R stores all the documents that are relevant to your particular project, okay? Then the plot, like I said, remember I said all outputs are given in the console except for graphics. So any plot that any command that you execute in your script on your console that is supposed to give you a graphical output, R gives you that graphical output in this plot tab. So you can see this is a histogram that I plotted, and R is giving it to us in this plot tab. It doesn't give it in the console. This is where it gives all graphical representations. Now, let's look at viewer first before we look at the rest. Now, I said all outputs except graphics and interactive tables. So any command you give in R that is supposed to produce an interactive table, that interactive table is given to you in this viewer tab. Now, what's an interactive table? Those kind of tables you see in journals and articles, they are called interactive tables. And this is where R gives you the output. There are other tables that R gives you the output in the console. But when it comes to interactive tables, R gives you the output in the viewer tab. Okay. Now let's look at help. Now, when you need any help, any kind of help in R, maybe you need R to explain one of its functions, you can easily ask R. And how you do that is you type question mark. So let's assume I want to know what median means. So I type question mark and I write median. And then I run it, Control Enter. Now, if you look at this help tab, it gives me median. It tells me what package median is found in, which is stats. And then it describes it for me. It tells me the argument I can use within the median function. And at the end, it also gives me examples of how to use the median.
Sorry, I can't see it. Sorry. I can't see that screen. No, sir, I can't see the screen for that.
Is it just you or everybody cannot see it?
No, I can see your screen, man. But that fourth quadrant, the fourth quadrant of the screen is what I cannot see.
That's what I'm saying. Is it just you that cannot see it, or is it everyone that cannot see it?
I can see it from my end.
I think it's only one who cannot see. It's from his end. So you can just explain the way.
So everyone can see it. So we don't know what's your screen default with your screen.
And also,
I can see it now.
I'll do the same thing.
So you can. It also gives you examples of how to use that particular function. You can see the example we gave for median here. Let's do another one. So let's assume we want to find about the function filter. So I type question mark and I type filter, Control Enter. Okay. Now, what it's telling me here is that filter has a couple of places I can find it. So I can click on any of them. So it will take me where I can find filter, because filter function is available in more than one package. It's available in the stats package. It's available in dplyr package. It's available in R statistics package. So I need to mention which one I want. So I want the one in dplyr package. I click on this place. So it will explain filter for me, give me the arguments inside filter function. And at the end, it will give me examples of how to use filter. You can see examples of how to use filter here. Okay, so that's the help tab. Now, packages. R works with packages, and packages are like a bundle or a collection of functions. So these packages tells you what package you've installed in your system. Any package that's been installed in your system, R lists them out for you here. So for example, in my system, I've installed all of these packages. And then if you notice, there are some of them that are ticked. Like this one is ticked. Let me show you another one that's ticked. You can see this one too is ticked. This one too is ticked. So the ones that are ticked are the ones that are currently loaded in this session I'm working on now. The ones that are ticked are currently loaded in this session I'm working on now. But all the others have been installed in my laptop and they are available in my R system, in my R library for me to use at any time. Okay. So that's this presentation is not really important for our class. Okay. Are we good up to this point? Yeah, please. I do fair, right?
Yeah. No, I don't know. Sorry, yeah. Dr. Kenneth.
Yes, sir.
I don't know if I can also add some voice to the package you just explained now.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. So no, we're talking about the packages. Yeah. These are set of programs that make they make life easier for us. We also have packages also on the data to meet some specific task. Let's say if my goal
from my end
is to let's say my goal is to run some maybe.
Okay.
Hello.
Kazim, when we get to that point,
yes?
I'm not explaining what packages are right now. We're just trying to look at, and there's a part where let me show you the outline. So you can see number 5 is packages and functions in R. So right now, all we're trying to do is just to look at the Rstudio environment and see how it is. Yes, Adufe, right? Is it Adufe? You raised your hand.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you very much for putting this together. Okay, when you were trying to explain the console quadrant.
Yeah.
Okay, so you try to run the addition code 5 plus 3, and in the console quadrant, he gave you an output of 8. So I tried to do the same. He only brought out 5 plus 3. So I was wondering, is that something I'm supposed to do that I'm not doing? He didn't give me the addition, the hits, the answer hits at the console quadrant. Also, when you were explaining the third quadrant, you know, trying to understand the meaning of median, I did the same, but it's not bringing out anything. You didn't explain anything on the
okay, your voice is breaking, but if I heard you clearly,
as shown on your screen. So
the first thing I want to ask regarding your last question is, the code I put on the chat, did you load it? Did you install and load those packages? Can you hear me?
Yes, I did.
You loaded all those packages and you saw in your console that they've been
yes, I can
installed.
hear you. Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yes.
Okay. So I honestly would not know why 5 plus 3 is not bringing out 8 on your screen. Is your Rstudio, is it enlarged? I mean, is it covering the full screen? Because if it's not covering the full screen, you might not be seeing the under part of that quadrant.
It's covering the full screen and I can see the 4 quadrants. Well, okay. Maybe we should just move on. Maybe I should
try that's
the
what
he's
again.
Saying.
You need to scroll. If you can come to the second quadrant, scroll. There's a back, scroll the back to the end. Maybe it's hidden.
Yeah.
That's what it's saying.
It's not hidden. That's what I'm saying as well. I can see immediately I press the control enter, I can see 5 plus 3 at the console quadrant. Okay, almost immediately. Don't worry, maybe I
can take 5 minutes at the end of the class and attend to your case. Okay.
No problem. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
So let's go to the 4th quadrant. Now the 4th quadrant has like 4 tabs in it. It has environment, history, connection, and tutorial. So the environment is where R stores what we call objects. We'll look at what objects are when we look at functions, but briefly, objects are just like working materials that R uses. Those are what objects are. So any object you save in R stores it in this place called quadrant. That's what the environment is for. Then the history. History is where R keeps a documentation of all the codes that you have written in your R script or your R console. So all the codes, like if you look at this, all these codes I've written for this project, they are all here. So R keeps a mental documentation of it, all the codes I've written in my history tab, right? Then connections. R can connect to like other softwares or the internet to get data into itself. So that's what these connections are for. Can connect to the internet or other softwares to get in data. And then tutorial, for those of us that want extra help, R has a self-paced tutorial where you can walk through by yourself and then learn more. So in brief, that's the 4 quadrants in Rstudio, which I need us to get very familiarized with, because that will define how we progress. So do we have any questions on the 4 quadrants that we've talked about? Any questions, any clarifications?
Yes, sir. Good evening.
Good evening.
Sorry, I am joined a few minutes late. I have followed this for just wondering why my mind has just 3 quadrants, not 4.
Okay, so when you open up Rstudio initially, your screen will be something like this. So you come to this place where my cursor is. This thing that looks like a window overlapping another window, and you just click this place. The fourth one will appear.
Oh, okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions?
Yes. I have a question. All those code, I could not put it in my own because I don't know. My hashtag, I don't know which one. I don't know whether it's from my settings.
What happened to your hashtag?
What system
It's
are you?
normal HP. If I press shift and 3, it doesn't bring out hash, it brings out
No,
pound
but
sterling.
I didn't ask you to type anything. I just said copy and paste and execute it. So if the code I typed in the chat, you just copy it, come to the script here, paste it, highlight all of them, and run it. You don't have to type anything.
Okay, let me see what I can do. Okay, no problem.
Just copy
But
that code.
he also needs to sort out where his hash is because we will still be using it.
Yeah, you will still be using it, but for now, just copy.
No, okay.
Just copy and paste, and then let's be sure you've installed all those things on your system. Okay.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Any other question?
Sorry, a quick one.
Yeah, please go ahead.
What if you type some command on the console or on the first pane, or is it console now, and you want to delete? How do you then delete?
If I type something on this second
On
quadrant, right?
The first quadrant.
This first one.
Yes, and I want to delete.
You just select it and delete. So if I want to delete this median and main, this median now, I just select it and I press delete and it goes up. It works like the way you use your Word document. Any other clarifications or questions?
Yeah. Sorry. Okay. What if my goal is to clear the console?
The console, to clear the console, you click, you do Control L. So if I do Control L, everything in my console cleans up.
Or we can also use this brush, this particular icon on it. Also.
Yeah, you can also use this.
Yeah.
For me, I try as much as possible to avoid point and click in R. That's just my personal decision. I use more of either the code or the keyboard. But there are ways you can use point and click too. You know, like when you said you can click run, you can click this, yeah. But for me, I use more of either a code or use the keyboard to do all my work. Okay, so we have less than a minute to the end of this session. We'll take a 10-minute break, and then I'll send the second link and we'll log on for the remaining part of the class today. Is that okay?
Yeah, noted.
Okay, thank you very much, guys.